Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community proclaiming the power of love at the core of our living tradition. Love of neighbor, love of self, and love for our planet. Whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, whatever doubts you carry, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. I am the Reverend Sara LaWall. It is my great joy to serve this beloved community as your minister. I'm joined this morning by Patricia Heeb, who is serving as our celebrant, and Carrie Bastian, our music director. And we're so glad we're all together here this morning. I want to take a moment and welcome our online community worshiping with us on Zoom. We're waving at you, and if you have an opportunity to turn your cameras on for a moment, we can see you on our screens and wave at you. Good morning, Bob Huntley, we see you there. What a delight. Mark Fowler, it's great to see you. Richard and Velez and Barb Alexander and Robert and Sheila and Jim, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us online, reminding all of us that we worship together as one beloved community beyond the walls of this sanctuary. I also want to take a moment to welcome any newcomers among us. If you are joining us for your first or second time, a big welcome to you. We know it takes a lot of courage to check out a new community, and we are glad you've chosen us. We invite you to introduce yourselves to us in the chat if you're online, and after the service during our hospitality time so that we can warmly welcome you. We invite you to fill out our newcomer forms so that we can keep you up to date with all that is happening in our fellowship. And we have a lot happening in our fellowship. So much that I can't make all the announcements about what's happening in our fellowship, so I really encourage you to read all those emails and check our website for all that's happening. For our newcomers, we run a series of sessions called Inquirers for Newcomers, and there is a session today down in the South Hall in the Channing Room. Anyone is welcome to drop in. We run these sessions regularly so you can pop in and out as your schedule allows. We would love to share with you a little bit more about Unitarian Universalism and our fellowship. And I want to draw your attention to this table over here where Nancy has so beautifully prepared individual vials of our water communion water, our community holy water that we collectively blessed together 2 weeks ago. So if you would like to take some home with you, that you can have, place it on a home altar, or use it to bless anything in your house or your life. I like to carry mine around in my bag with me because you just never know what you're going to need to bless when you're out in the world. These days, it's a lot, so you might need more vials. If you run out, just let us know. We have much more water for you. But please feel free to take one home with you today. Each week, we center ourselves and gather by lighting a flaming chalice, the symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We light this chalice with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists lighting chalices in communities, churches, homes, and worship spaces across the country, reminding us that we are part of a great community of faith and love. As we light the chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you who are in our virtual community to light a chalice or a candle nearby if you have one, and share with each other in the chat where it is you have lit your chalice this morning. You're so sweet. You really don't need to clap for me every time I light the chalice. But you're clapping for the chalice, right? The beacon of hope, love, and justice. We can clap for that. With With all of our chalices lit, I invite us all to rise, embody our spirit, to sing together our gathering hymn, a song of hope for our brighter world, number 146 in our gray hymnal, words also on the screen, soon the day will arrive.
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connections to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
Our spiritual theme for this month of September is the practice of invitation. And today's service explores the invitation to hope, especially in these challenging times when it can often feel like hope is hard to find. As we enter into this time of worship together, I invite us all to take a breath together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, knowing that our breath connects us to one another, to our bodies, and to our planet. Our breath offers us an opportunity for stillness, to tune in to our spiritual center, to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep, to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep, past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory.
No man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, the spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we women and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots, we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory. 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 Oh.
Now the war is not over, victory is won, and we'll fight on to the finish, and when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh, oh, and we'll cry glory,
weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours. It'll be When the glory comes, it'll be ours, it'll be ours.
Our call to worship this morning is soon the day will arrive. Soon the day will arrive and we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunderclouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow. And our vision remains in our heart. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. What am I reading?
Patricia's reciting the hymn for you again, but they're beautiful words.
Oh, sorry, a little extra for you today. Now, our real call to worship is from Rosemary Trommer. Hope has its holes in its pockets. It leaves little crumb trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. Hope's secret, it doesn't know the destination. It knows only that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other. Come, let us worship together.
With our commitment and promise to building beloved community, we celebrate those commitments by being a multi-generational community, a community of generosity, and a community of care and connection. And in that spirit of multi-generational community, I invite all of our young people who are here this morning, or young at heart, to come on up with Jam up here for our time for all ages.
Join me, friends.
Even if you're a little nervous, come on down because you get the best view up here. And it looks to me like Jem is pulling out a wonder board, which it's been a minute since we've had a wonder board. I want to skate through this sanctuary. You teach me how to do that and not break an ankle? That's really cool.
If you will sit, and then I've got some help I'm going to ask of you. So maybe scoot in a little bit more. All right, my friends, I am not going to touch my microphone. I am beyond excited about today. It is in this month of invitation. We are beginning our journey through our program year for our children and youth. They are going to be going, this year, we've got two different kind of themes, but we are, for both, focusing on what do our children and our youth need, what tools and skills and experiences do they need to walk this faith in their lives, to use this beloved faith to make choices, to learn more, to explore, and to just root themselves into this world. Our youth are going to be exploring world religions in line with our monthly themes. So next month, as we think about deep listening, they're going to be diving into Unitarian Universalism. When we talk about presence in December, they will be learning about Buddhism, and so on and so forth. I can talk so much more about this. Chat with me more, and I'll tell you more about it. Our children are going to be exploring faithful journey. In these toolkits, they'll be diving in with deep listening and the steps they need to take along the way to make faith an action. So with this beginning day and this opening, I want to kind of root us into a story taught in UU fellowships across our nation called A Lamp in Every Corner. And my friends, I am going to lay out the props in front of you. And as I call out the props, I'll give you like a wink and a nudge. If one of you will hand them to Reverend Sara, and we are going to together build our story, A Lamp in Every Corner. So I can shuffle these around so that there's some in front of everyone. Thank you. And I'll get started. Okay. A lamp in every corner. Many years ago, in the land of Transylvania, some of you have been there, some of you know the terrain, in a mountain valley. Can I have some friends grab me at mountains? We're looking for Mountain Valley. We want to build up our mountains. Thank you. This mountain valley was watered by quick, rushing streams, shadowed by great forests. I got those forests of beech trees. There was a village of small wooden houses with dark shingled roofs. The people of the village were of the Unitarian religion, and they wanted a church of their own. A church set on the hillside, they decided, looking down upon the village as a mother looks down upon her sleeping child. So, all the people of the village labored long and hard to build themselves this church. The stonemasons hammered sharp chisels. Chisels? Perfect. To create these great blocks of gray stone. And they set these stones. It's going to take a little rearranging. This is a big story. They set these stones together into stout and sturdy walls. The glazers made tiny glass panels and fitted them neatly into windows. Perfect. Thank you. Fitted them neatly into windows with leaded lines. The foresters sawed tall beech trees into enormous beams, wooden beams. Perfect. And laid the trestles for the ceiling. Then they covered the roof. Yeah, Ruby's on it. Hold tight, Ruby, hold tight. Where's my good? It's part of the scenery. Settled in there. Close-fitted wooden shingles that wouldn't leak a drop of rain. The carpenters carved wood for a pair of wide-fitting doors. Thank you.
Somebody knows what's coming next.
Setting them on strong pegs so the doors hung straight and square. A bell was brought from a faraway city, then hoisted by ropes with a heave-ho. Can I hear a heave-ho? Heave-ho! Thank you. On top of the tower. The weavers wove fine cloths for the altar table, cloths embroidered with flowers. We've got some lovely flowers somewhere. There we go. The smiths hammered tall black iron lampstands and hammered a thin bronze into a shiny oil lamp. Our oil lamp is represented by our chalice. Oh, yeah, you've got one on your name tag. Okay. The painters mixed bright colors, royal red and shimmering gold and bright blue, and everyone in the village, old and young, men, women, thembies, boys, girls, kids, came to decorate this church. They painted flowers, they painted trees, they painted designs around the windows and different designs around the doors. This church came alive with color. At the end of the day, when it was finished, when their church was finally done, all the people of the village took a step back to look at it. Can we get some of these happy, shiny people up on the board? All of these villagers
Happy, shiny people.
taking a look.
Oh, I love these happy, shiny people. These are so many happy, shiny people.
Some kids play Uno
Yeah, we play Uno at church.
and getting ready to lose their friendship.
Uh-oh, that's a tough Uno game.
Play Uno! I can't wait to lose friendship.
All right, yeah, let's stick them in the center. All was done, and they sang a song of praise. A song of praise for their village now had a church set in the hillside looking down on the village. His mother looking down.
It looks just like ours, right?
Exact replica.
We should just enlarge it with the ray gun and then just put
The village elder proclaimed, "We will eat now. This was hard work."
Thank goodness.
Everyone was hungry after a long day. We're going to pause on the food. Later tonight, we will come back and pray after we are rested. So the people of the village went down the hillside to their homes and their suppers, all except for one little girl named Zora and her father. Boom. They had brought their own picnic. Beautiful. Zora and her father looking delighted and tired. They ate their food slowly, sitting on the grass and admiring the church with its strong stone walls, its tall tower, and that magnificent bell. After they had eaten, they went back inside, opening the doors, admiring all the work. Zora cried, "Oh, look, Father. See how grand." This is old-timey. The father said, "Yes, it is. Yes, it is." She suddenly said, "Father, we have not finished." "What do you mean?" "There are tall iron lampstands, and we've got the one lamp in the front, but there are no other lamps. The church is going to be dark when the people come back." The father said, "Oh no, little one. The light of the church comes from its people. You'll see." He rang the bell. Can I hear some bell sounds? Ding, 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 ding. There we go. He rang this bell to call the people to worship, and then he took his daughter by the hand and led her to look out on the hillside. They waited next to their beautiful church of strong gray stone. Night came, the sun set behind the mountains, and yet, growing in the darkness, tiny points of light came from many directions. Can I see us using our imagination, holding up each of our flame, and we're going to imagine everyone coming up the hillside. My young ones, can you also hold up your flame? Here we go. One light at a time, the hillside growing brighter and brighter and brighter. It was so beautiful to see, and we can set our lamps down for a moment. The father lifted Zora so she could see that their family's lamp had come with her mother up the hillside. And all other families were bringing theirs. Soon the church was ablaze with light in every corner, for all the people of the village had gathered to sing and praise. Zora had a question for her mother later on. She said, "Dad said the light of the church comes from its people." Mother says yes. "But the people take their light from the church." Over on the table by the fireside, their lamp was still burning, and we have that light every day. "Yes," her mother said, "and even when we're not in church, even when the lamp is not lit, We carry the light of truth in our minds and the flame of love in our hearts to show us the right way to be. That light, the light from truth and love, will never go out. Zora says, never? Mom confirms yes, never. All right, my friends, in honor of these lights that we bring to and from, oh, I forgot our music. Well, in honor of our music, we are going to be on our way. Youth, 6th grade through 12th, go that way. It is going to be super fun. You are going to come up with your own modern pantheon.
Turn around.
Children, this was part of the picnic. Yeah, thank you. Here's a sign. Children, come with me this way. So these are the directions. And everyone, in honor of this beloved song, will you please join me in blessing this beloved community?
When we give, we say yes to the invitation to hope and to seed that hope by practicing generosity, giving to help bring forth a brighter future for all. When we give, we say yes to building community within and beyond our walls, and we commit ourselves to doing the work of justice and compassion for all people and for our earth. Today, we share those gifts with our plate partner, Citizens Climate Lobby of Boise, as an expression of the commitment and living out of our faith. I invite the ushers to come forward. Our offering will be gratefully received.
As our ushers bring our offering gifts forward, I invite all of you to join together in the collective blessing of our offering this morning. We bless these gifts, so freely given. May generosity always be our companion as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty. Thank you. Each week, we take time to acknowledge the many joys among us and grieve our many sorrows and losses so that we might lift the burden for each other and receive the blessing of community. It is through our sharing with one another that we receive that invitation to hope and forge deep bonds of community and connection. This morning we share these joys and sorrows. We come together in collective joy for Laura Stavo, who is beginning her chaplain residency with St. Luke's this fall, the final requirement in her seminary degree. We may just be able to ordain a minister among us at some point in the future. Congratulations and good luck, Laura. And as I told Laura, I said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to know there's going to be a Unitarian Universalist at St. Luke's. So if any of you ever find yourselves there, and I hope you don't, but how lovely it will be for us to be able to pick up the phone and say, Laura, go see this person, please. It's a rare occurrence that you get a UU chaplain. And we share and hold together the sorrows of our community. Toni Corley, who shares that her cancer has come back, and she is entering warrior mode, and Toni, we enter warrior mode with you. And she welcomes your support and cards and letters and thanks you for that. We hold Brian Jennings in our hearts, who fell a few days ago, is currently at St. Luke's and may be entering rehab shortly. Calls and visits are greatly appreciated for both Brian and Wanda. And we hold the sorrow and grief of Deborah Smith and her family. Deborah's brother-in-law Bob passed away on Monday. Her sister Jackie had been caring for him for 15 years. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name aloud wherever you are into this community of love, that we might hold them with you. May the arms of this community hold all our joys and sorrows. Those spoken aloud and those that remain silent and close to our hearts. May we feel the grace that surrounds us and be transformed by the spirit of life and love with a warmth to celebrate our joys and a gentleness to soothe our aching hearts. Breathe with me. Fill your body with breath. Breathe with beloved community filled with loving kindness. Breathe with wholeheartedness. Listen to what is calling you in the silence. Blessed be.
Our reading today comes from writer, historian, archivist Rebecca Sonnet. The future is bigger than our imaginations. It's unimaginable, and then it comes anyway. To meet it, we need to keep going. To walk past what we can imagine, we need to be unstoppable. And here's what it takes. You don't stop walking to congratulate yourself. You don't stop walking to wallow in despair. You don't stop because your own life got too comfortable or too tough. You don't stop because you won. You don't stop because you lost. There's more to win, more to lose, others who need you. You don't stop walking because there is no way forward. Of course there is no way. You walk the path into being. You make your way. And if you do it well, others can follow the route. You look backward to grasp the long history you've moved toward and are moving forward from. The paths others have made, the road you came in on. You look forward to possibility. That's what we mean by hope. And you look past it into the impossible, and that doesn't stop you either. But mostly, you just walk. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. That's what makes you unstoppable.
How many of you out there are on Facebook? I like that. And don't worry if you're not. This is not an alienating sermon. You're probably saving yourself a lot of heartache. But if you're on Facebook, you might know, I recently discovered this not too terribly long ago, that you can save posts, you can bookmark them for later. And you can save it and you can create folders to revisit later, like your email folders that you probably never look at again, but you can do it. And I have found that this is a helpful tool for me, especially given that I'm in so many different collegial groups that I often forget where I read something or who posted it, and I can never just go back and find it. So I save posts for later with different labels and different folders, mostly for worship resources, one for Thanksgiving, one just for me. That's mostly like makeup and stuff. But a few months ago, I found myself creating this folder that you can see with the yellow arrow called Surviving the Demise of Democracy. There it is. It's got some posts and lots of posts in it. Because so many people in the last several months, friends and colleagues, were posting all kinds of things. Some beautiful poetry and reflections offering reminders and tools to nourish our spirits in this heightened state of unrest and uncertainty. And also many posts sharing explanations and analyses of some of the most concerning extremist ideologies and groups and policy agendas like Turning Point USA and Moms for Liberty, and of course, like Project 2025. How many of you are familiar in some way with Project 2025? Yep, good. You've been reading about it, haven't you? It's hard to read about. The ACLU describes Project 2025 like this: a federal policy agenda and blueprint for a radical restructuring of the executive branch, authored and published in partnership with the Heritage Foundation, a long-standing conservative think tank, and Trump administration officials. And this think tank and officials that opposes abortion, reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, immigrants' rights, and racial equity. Project 2025's largest publication, The Mandate for Leadership, is a 900-page manual for reorganizing the entire federal government, agency by agency, to serve that conservative agenda and dismantle rights. This Mandate for Leadership shares policy guidelines that include gutting abortion rights, rolling back protections for trans folks and marriage equality, supporting censorship of critical conversations in schools and book banning in schools, mass deportations, severely limiting voting access, and that's just a little bit of the 900 pages. While its policy proposals are sweeping and would affect nearly every single facet of American life, its overarching goal is clear. It is an authoritarian playbook that would destroy the system of checks and balances that this country's early elected leaders and framers of the Constitution designed when they sought freedom and popular sovereignty almost 250 years ago. And make no mistake, Project 2025 comes directly out of well-funded organizations fueled by Christian nationalism, using the cloak of religion or religious and morality and Christian morality to give credence to their agenda. To some, to many, to all, so many of us, this sounds draconian and wholly unconstitutional, like something out of a Margaret Atwood novel. But as I've shared with lots of colleagues and friends who are having these conversations, especially as we're strategizing about the election and post-election outcomes, we here in Idaho and other conservative red states like ours, we are already living Project 2025. We're living with total abortion bans and forced pregnancy. We are living with forced gender binaries with no gender-affirming care for youth and those on Medicaid. We're living with banned books in school and censorship and the banning of, quote, critical race theory. We're living with teachers being forced to discriminate against their students because they can't use preferred names and pronouns without written permission. They can't give a Band-Aid out without written parental permission. Books are being removed from library shelves and on and on and on and on, and I know you know. I know you know. And I do want us all to come together at some point and discuss Project 2025 and its potential impacts so we can be prepared to resist it, but we'll do that another day. Earlier this summer, as I was working on plans for the worship year and the start of the program year, I felt such a cloud of doom and despair. I felt like we were living in a Margaret Atwood novel. At the July meeting of the Committee on Ministry, I polled them, should I even preach about Project 2025? Because all I can come up with to say is that the sky is really falling and we are all doomed. And I confess that I felt like I had no hope to offer. I, a minister, had no hope to offer. That's pretty dark. And a little bit concerning, because I do believe somewhere that part of my job, my role, my call is to help us find hope, see the hope, to hold on to hope. I have a beautiful sign in my office that says those words, hold on to hope. But in these times, this constant barrage of attacks on our values, our faith, our mission, on people we love, our beloveds, on humanity, on our earth, on our vision for a brighter future and collective flourishing, attacks on the very foundations of our democracy and the possibility of what it can be, attacks on freedom for all people in the name of freedom, wave after wave, attack after attack, threat after threat of having to live and continuing to live in some dystopian, authoritarian, theocratic future in the world on literal and figurative fire. The hope had left me. And there I was, staring down the start of a new church program year, a new school year, an election year with no good words and no hope. Hope felt impossible. And frankly, it felt frustrating to me, a little bit naive, perhaps, that in the face of all that we have endured and all that we are facing in our future, having hope sometimes feels like a setup. Like if I let myself hope, am I setting myself up for disappointment? Because that's what it has felt like to live here the last few years. Have any of you felt like this recently, just even the littlest bit? Like big hang, okay, good. Thank God, I'm so glad. I just want to know that I'm not alone there, out on my no hope rock all by myself. We're all here together, even though it feels like this. Shane Lopez is a senior scientist at Gallup who has studied hope extensively and defines hope like this: the belief that the future will be better than the present, coupled with the belief that you have the power to make it so. I used to believe that. I used to be pretty passionate about this belief until the world just turned upside down and kept turning upside down. And hope felt more like betting on the odds of winning the lottery, and with those odds, why even bother to play? But living in this constant state of existential threat and no hope is not healthy. Not physically, mentally, or spiritually. We know this. I know this. It's especially not healthy for those who live in closer proximity to these threats, those with marginalized identities, those who live in climate crisis threatened areas, those who work in the political world or in environmental sustainability or in healthcare, whose nervous systems are on high alert all the time. No hope is not a sustainable way to live. We need hope to survive. We need it to thrive. So we have to keep inviting it in, inviting ourselves to seek hope and to hold on to it at all costs. And this is no easy task. As I am confessing to you, when I have a sign in my office that I read every day and I still don't feel like I can quite hold on, when at the same time we're all facing these overwhelming odds against hope, actively resisting the forces of oppression, hate, and religious extremism. In her essay, Hope in Everyday Beauty, sociologist Emily Towns writes, "We must yoke, challenge, and hope in our lives, such that justice and peace mean something and are more than rhetorical ruffles and flourishes." In that one sentence, I hear that struggle, and perhaps even the moments and pockets of despair that naturally accompany that struggle, must be woven together with hope. That when we link them together, we clear the pathways for change making, for justice, and for collective liberation. And perhaps in the process, we also soothe our own aching hearts. Writer Rebecca Solnit, the author of that beautiful reading that Patricia read, shares, "Your opponents would love you to believe that it's hopeless, that you have no power, that there's no reason to act, that you can't win. Hope is a gift you don't have to surrender, a power you don't have to throw away." It's so easy to forget this. I had forgotten this for a while. This past year, I had put the gift of hope high on a shelf and forgot it was ever there. I'd forgotten this power even existed. Maybe you have forgotten too, occasionally. I mean, maybe you've felt this way once or twice in the last year or two or since 2016. Or maybe during the Bush administration's Iraq War, or the height of the AIDS crisis in the 90s, or during the fight for voting rights, or first wave feminism. I mean, we have never actually ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. Surely you, like me, have ignored hope's invitation at some point in your life, forgotten its power because the struggle was just so hard and unending. And we are not alone in that. We are not alone on our rock. There are so many important battles for justice, so many. So much need for repairing centuries of harm. So much devastation to cloud our view of hope, to forget its invitation. And it's so easy to slip into anger and frustration and slide into despair. It's easy. And we are not alone. Even superheroes give up. In Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker threw away his Spidey suit in the trash because the struggle was too hard. He started to lose his powers. He couldn't figure out how to balance this need to fight evil and also to live a regular life. And so he gave up and he threw his suit away. He forgot that's exactly what the evil villains wanted. Your opponents would love to have you believe that it's hopeless, that you have no power, that you can't win. Just like us, Spider-Man forgot for a moment. Hope is a power you don't have to throw away. But if it is a power, then we have to use it. Because when we don't use our powers regularly, when we don't practice, we get rusty. The powers fade, and it becomes difficult, and we sink into despair, and we throw the power in the trash. And we don't remember how to use them when we really need them. Rebecca Solnit goes on to say, hope is not a lottery ticket that you can sit on the sofa and clutch, feeling lucky. It is an axe you break down doors with in an emergency. Hope should shove you out the door because it will take everything you have to steer the future away from endless war, from the annihilation of the earth's treasures, from the grinding down of the poor and marginal. To hope is to give yourself to the future. And that commitment to the future is what makes the present inhabitable. Hear that again. Hope is to give yourself to the future, and that commitment to the future is what makes the present inhabitable. Hope's invitation may just be what saves us. Little bit by little bit, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But only, I believe, if we hope together. The invitation to hope is an invitation for collective healing and transformation. It works best in community. You know, as I was joking with our tech team today, we come to find out in the Marvel universe, those guys don't work alone, right? The Avengers finally come together to save the world again and again and again and again. So we find hope in community, in coming together, in communities of care that help us build resilience, that remind us of our power, that offer connection and care and joy and love always. Love always. We find hope in the first ever Trans March for Joy this past weekend. In 20+ volunteers staffing our Pride booth, playing Plinko and face painting and doing glitter tattoos. And I will say, glitter tattoos, that is its own community now, definitely invited hope and healing. We find that hope in 100 people of different faiths coming together for a special Pride worship service on Sunday morning at 8:15 in the morning. We find that hope in film screenings, in learning together, in terrific Tuesdays, in our class of fascism fighters putting on a staged reading of Ionesco's Rhinoceros. We find hope in our adult RE classes, many of them starting soon. Please sign up and read the email. In our Whole Lives sexuality education program, in volunteering to help with religious education, to serve our children and youth in the classroom. We find hope in singing in the choir, in tending to our outdoor sanctuary, gardening together on Saturdays, in waking up to all the intersectional injustices and racism every week over Zoom and learning and growing together. We find hope even in watching those debates and conventions with people who share our passion and our fear. We find hope in writing more than 3,000 postcards to voters in swing states, and in countless other ways that we gather as a community and connect and care for and love one another, both within and beyond our walls. They are all invitations to hope, and hope lives in so many spaces. And I can't believe I let myself forget all of that. It took writing it all down and reading it out loud to you to remember just saying some of these out loud has charged up my superpowers. I can feel it. I hope it has done the same for you. In our centering music video that we saw today, composed for the film Selma, where some might say, look how far we've come, and others will say, not far enough. We heard the words, Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and the young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, mine eyes have seen the glory. And please take with you today that beautiful wisdom of our time for all ages. The light of the church comes from its people. And also, the people take their light from the church. Hope is that light, shining, however brightly or dimly, lighting the way to a future bigger than our imaginations, lighting our way as we walk the path into being, making a way out of no way, and clearing that path so others can follow the route and follow hope's trail of crumbs. The arc of the moral universe is long, remember. But perhaps it is our hope, the hope needed to sustain the struggle, our hope that bends it toward justice. May it be so. Amen. Thank you. And I invite you all to join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery. When our world overwhelms us with uncertainty and fear, extremism and division, with violence and war and heartbreak, when we feel like all is lost and can no longer see the light of hope, may we listen. Listen for hope's invitation whispering to us in the depths of our souls. And may we receive its gift proudly, never giving up the power that lives inside each of us. May we seize the hope that lives in the everydayness of life's beauty, in the everydayness, in the wisdom of Emily Towns, the everydayness of listening closely when folks talk or don't talk, to hear what they're saying, in the everydayness of taking some time, however short or long, to refresh ourselves through prayer or meditation. In the everydayness of being in presence in people's lives. In the everydayness of sharing a meal. In the everydayness of facing heartache and disappointment. In the everydayness of joy and laughter. In the everydayness of getting up and trying one more time to get our living right. In the everydayness of facing people who expect us to lead them somewhere, or at least point them in the right direction and walk with them. In the everydayness of blending head and heart. It is in this everydayness that we, the people, are formed. And may we, the people, a people of faith, live and bear witness to a justice wrapped in a love that will not let us go, and a hope that is simply too ornery to give up on us. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. I invite us to rise in body or spirit and join our voices in song, in an invitation to hope as we sing together number 145 in the gray hymnal and words on the screen as tranquil streams. Friends, I invite you to place your hands over your hearts for our closing blessing. May we hold tight to the gift of hope, to its power that lives deep inside us. And when we feel like it is slipping away, may we follow the crumb trails it leaves for us, beckoning us toward the impossible, a destination beyond our imagination. And may that invitation to hope beckon us to put one foot in front of the other, again and again and again, making us unstoppable. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.